Gaudy. Gaudy stats. Gaudy stats. Good God, that's Gaudy. Welcome to Gaudy Stats.
With Ben Simmons.
What's on the menu, Benny boy?
Hey, how you doing? Oh, man. I'm bummed. To be honest with you. I'm bummed out right now. Boogie, DeMarcus. It's been a little while. Okay, it's been a few days. I feel like the news is almost just drifting away. It's fading away that DeMarcus Cousins suffered an Achilles tear, a rupture. Ugh. Doesn't that sound grisly? Ooh, really does. We're going to talk about it. I was actually going to do a Boogie pod for a long time. I was actually going to talk about him and Andre Drummond side by side. The gaudiness, the sheer filthiness of their respective stat lines this year has been a joy to watch. See, the people who don't like sports don't understand. They don't get it, man. The NBA is filled with these ginormous, large men running up and down the court, doing beautiful, agile things of a man a foot shorter and 100 pounds lighter. It's just, it's something to behold. It's a spectacle, people. And the glory of Boogie is over. No, I don't know if it's over for good, but we're going to look at some of the stats post-Achilles rupture, and I'm hopeful, but the numbers don't look good. I mean, the technology is advancing with every day that goes by. Wes Matthews, Rudy Gay, we'll talk about all that. We'll look at some of the numbers, the stats. Also, I got to talk about what Beardy, what do they call him? Samson, the bearded one, the swashbuckling pirate-looking scallywag, James Harden. Let me tell you something. What he did the other night with that 60-point triple-double, it sent me into a tizzy, if you will. Let me just gather my thoughts. I saw this 60-10-10 or 60-11-10. We'll get into the numbers. We'll get into the field goal attempts. I've never seen it before. It's never been done. It's never been done. Ever. Okay? It was crazy. It was wild. I didn't see the game. I didn't play DFS the night that he poured in those points, poured in those assists and rebounds. I like to say I would have played him, but I don't know. He was playing Orlando. I might have. Orlando has a really a Sev-like backcourt. Sev, Strainer, whatever you want to call it. They are easily scored on in the backcourt. It was kind of a no-brainer matchup, and he exploited it to the nth degree, nth power. Wow, it was incredible. So we're going to talk about, the sad and the bad, Boogie, and then the good, James Harden, on this podcast. With it, it's kind of a bummer with the whole Boogie thing. So, I'm just going to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm not in the mood to go crazy. I'm just going to take 2 pieces of bread, put some peanut butter on it, put some marshmallow fluff, a little jam, a little banana, press it together, put some butter on each side, put it in a panini press, push it down hard until it's crispy on both sides. Be sure to put butter on, put butter, plenty of butter. And then I'm going to eat it. Just an ordinary peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like your mom used to make. Nothing fancy or gourmet about it. Man, kind of bummed, but let's go ahead. This is going to be a solo pod, all right? So you're going to have to listen to this my mug. Wait, how can you listen to a mug? A mug is a face. It's not a mouth. It isn't. The mug, I guess a face speaks. I'm all out of sorts right now, man. I was enjoying watching that New Orleans team so much. It's just, I'm bummed. All right, let's start the fucking podcast. And then after the Boogie news, Blake Griffin gets traded, and there's a lot of Blake Griffin haters out there.
Blake Griffin cannot shoot threes. He needs a 5 who also shoot threes and can protect the rim. The only 5 is Kristaps Porzingis. There's none other 5 who does that. Blake Griffin, Blake Griffin sucks. He's no good anymore. He's extinct. He's past due. He's no longer effective.
Jesus Christ. Ugh. There's a lot of Blake Griffin haters. That people act like he can't develop a 3-point shot. All right. I mean, I don't want to. Okay, this is about Boogie and James. I don't want to get too deep into Blake Griffin, but did you know he's shooting 34% from the 3-point line this year on 5.7 attempts? And yes, I know what you're gonna say. That's not good, Simmons. I know it's not good. I know, but it's not that bad either. All right. We've settled down with that. 34%. He's taking a lot more threes than he took last year. He took 1.9 last year and shot 33%. All right? So he's improved on more attempts. He's taking a higher volume. Taking more threes. He's going to get better as a 3-point shooter. As he gets older, as his physical dominance, his athleticism starts to wane, he's going to become a better 3-point shooter. I'm not worried about him being a stretch 4, but that seems to be on everyone's minds, and it's a little baffling. He can add that to his game. He can become a stretch 4. Okay, he's becoming one now. He's not the best defender. I get it. All right, I get it. He's not Draymond Green, but could he become like a quasi Draymond Green? I think he could. I believe in you, Blake. I believe in you. I think he's going to be good. I'm looking forward to seeing him start a new chapter. But we're not going to talk about Blake anymore. Let's talk about Boogie. Let's talk about one of the most entertaining, fascinating players in the NBA. Also, someone who brings the Gaudy stats goods, folks. And to think it could all be lost. It's troubling, all right? At Gaudy Stats headquarters here. It's troubling to think that maybe we've seen the best of Boogie and we won't see that Boogie again. We won't see peak Boogie. I want to see peak Boogie again. I want to see it. But the stats scare the living shit out of me. They bother me. I'm a little worried because, well, let's just go through some of these players who have suffered the dreaded Achilles tear, okay? So, number 1 on the list, Elgin Baylor of the Lakers. Old school player. And I will point out, a lot of these guys were hurt when they were older. So, they didn't bounce back as well. And it was also another time. I mean, Elgin Baylor played in the early 70s. He was injured 1970. And he returned almost a little less than a year later. His pre-injury stats were 27 points per game, 27.5, 13.6 rebounds, in 837 games. Okay? That's a nice stats. Post-injury, 11.8 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game in 9 games. So he looks like he kind of retired shortly after. It's sad, man. I mean, he was averaging 24 and 10 when he got hurt. This is in 1969-70. He's playing 41 minutes a game at age 35. Yeah, so he was older. So, you got Elgin Baylor, all right? 6'5", small forward, different type of body type. And that's the thing with Boogie. It's like nobody of his size has come back, has made a full recovery. And that's what's depressing. All right. And so just to segue into that, Patrick Ewing, a large man in his own right, a sweaty, extremely sweaty large man, Patrick Ewing, had an Achilles tear. All right. But I mean, when he had his, he was older. All right. He wasn't, Boogie is 27 years old. Patrick was 36. When he got hurt, when he was 36 years old, he was already kind of on the downslope. He'd already logged like 13 seasons in the NBA. He was still averaging 17 a game. But it's a good comparison because these are two large men. And, it's tougher for a big guy to come back from this kind of injury just based on, all the foot injuries big guys have had, like Bill Walt and Yao Ming. It's just there's something about that oafish, ogreish body that these big guys have. And look, DeMarcus is extremely athletic, and he's only 27. So there's hope. But in Patrick Ewing's case, this happened a while ago when Ewing went down, late 90s, right? 1999 is when he was injured. So he returned in December 10th of 1999. He was injured June 1st, 1999. Before the injury, 23 PPG, 10 rebounds a game, 977 games. Post, 9.6 points per game, 7 rebounds, 206 games. Now, I talked about how he was a little older. His prime had already occurred. He was kind of towards the end of he wasn't like, I think he was like just out of his prime based on what I'm seeing in B-Ball reference. Then you have Dominique Wilkins of the Hawks. When he was hurt, he was 32. He returned, in less than a year. And his stats are kind of interesting. Okay, so pre-injury, he was putting up 26 a game, 6.9 RPG in 762 games. Post-injury, 25 PPG, 6.8 rebounds per game in 312 games. Now, that's encouraging, but you have to remember, he was smaller. He was 6'8". He was svelte, athletic, sinewy. Sinewy. Oh, that word is kind of weird. Wiry. He was a different body type than Boogie. Boogie has struggled with his weight throughout his career. He did check in, in better shape this year for sure. But the grueling rehab for this injury is pretty taxing, and you have to be in great shape so you don't put a lot of stress on that Achilles. From what I've read, okay, I'm not a doctor. Did you guys know that? I'm not a doctor. I think you guys thought I was a doctor. I'm not. Okay, I hate to break it to you, but Dominique is a he put up some nice numbers after that Achilles injury. I will say, in 92, 93, when he was 33 years old, 30 points a game. All right, 26 the next year. On similar shooting than before, maybe a little not as good of a shooter, a little more of a volume shooter. It looks like, for instance, when he had 30 points a game in 85-86, he was shooting 46.8%, which is very good for his position, especially. And he got 26 points a game in 93-94, but he's shooting 44%, and then 43 after that. In 93-94, and then 45. So, it wasn't that big of a drop-off, but, it's noticeable. I'm a little worried, though, still, because Boogie's such a large man, and I know he can be effective without that athleticism that he has. I don't think we may never see what he was doing this year, which was just truly something to behold. Listen to this. At the time his season ended, Boogie Cousins was doing something nobody else in the history of professional basketball had ever done. 25 plus points per game, 12 plus rebounds, 5 plus assists, 1.5 plus steals, and 1.5 plus blocks a game. Never been done. He was having a career year. He wasn't averaging the most points he's ever averaged, but he was putting up 25. He was averaging the most rebounds of his career, 12.9. The most assists of his career by a considerable margin, 5.4 assists, 1.6 steals, and 1.6 blocks. He was just a monster this year, and it makes me sad. We're going to get into some of his really huge games here in a second. I just want to touch on some of the other players that have suffered the dreaded, the unfortunate, tragic Achilles tear, and talk about their post-tear stats. Kobe Bryant. You guys heard of him? You heard of Kobe? I'm sure you have. God, doing some weird voices today. Apologize for that. No, I don't. He was 34 when he was hurt. We all know what Kobe's done. We all know what he did. Pre-injury, 25 PPG, 5.3 rebounds per game, and a lot of games, 1,239. And then afterwards, 18.9 points a game, 4.4 rebounds per game. And he shot a horrible percentage. Getting those shots. Putting up those shots, Kobe. But Ben, he scored 60 points in his final game. you hater. He scored 60 points. How do you think about that? You biscuit head motherfucker. Ha! Yeah, and how many shots? Huh? How many shots did he score that 60 points? Yeah, that's what I thought. No, I'm not a Kobe hater. We did the Kobe hate love pod. I'm gonna do a Kobe. And one of my friends was joking, like, "You're gonna do another Kobe pod?" Yes, I'm going to, because we didn't get into his stats enough. We didn't go year by year. We got to expand on that pod a little bit. And then Simmons, what about Rudy Gay? Okay, because he's at a small sample size, and he's out right now for a heel issue, which I think is that related? That's probably related to his Achilles. And Kevin Pelton of ESPN wrote an interesting article on Boogie. And naturally, Rudy Gay came up, okay? He says this, okay? I recently wrote about how players have performed coming back from Achilles injuries, noting that Rudy Gay of the San Antonio Spurs is on track to become only the fourth player out of 18 comebacks since 1990 to meet or exceed pre-injury projection the following season. Gay's example provides hope, but on average, players coming back from Achilles injuries see their production decline by about 8% compared to what we would have projected based on their past performance and age. The good news is that Cousins is so dominant he can afford to decline by 8% and remain a very good player. Nonetheless, it is possible that this injury will rob us of the peak Boogie we saw this season in New Orleans. And there's all kinds of ramifications, like he's going to be a free agent. Who's going to pay him? Is New Orleans going to pay him? Are they going to give him the max? He was going to get the super max with the Kings, and they traded him. So the man's going to be, he's going to lose some money unless he makes a full recovery and then makes it up later on down the line. But odds are he's going to lose a lot of money. He's not going to get that super max. Obviously, he wasn't going to get that anyway. But anyways, it's interesting. There's a league-wide ramifications here. He was going to be one of the biggest free agents, and now look at him, poor guy. Also, Wes Matthews. I wanted to talk about him, okay, because he was only 29 when he got hurt, okay? So he got hurt with the Trailblazers and then was still signed to the max with the Mavericks. So pre-injury, 14 points a game, 3 rebounds, 441 games. And then post, 13.4, 3 rebounds, 121 games. Now you might be like, those are very similar stat lines, averages, Simmons. So what's the fucking big deal, man? Well, I would say he was supposed to be like a number 2 or even at times number 1 option for the Mavs. I think they thought of him as like an up and coming, rising kind of star, scorer, facilitator. He was kind of a guy, a great defender. I could be wrong on this, but I was under the impression that he was going to see a big uptick in scoring and everything across the board. I mean, he might put up like 20 points a game or something, but I feel like that injury, it definitely cut down on his athleticism. Probably isn't as good of a defender. I could be wrong. I don't know. I've been following him pretty closely when he's been at Dallas, and he's not the same guy. I feel like there's definitely a difference. I could be wrong. Let's look at the stats. All right, so the stats paint kind of a different picture. Okay, so his first year, he was with Utah, and he only he put up 9 points a game. Then the next year with Portland, about 16 points a game. Then 13.7, 14.8, 16.4, 15.9. Then the injury happened. Then he goes to Dallas. Okay? And in Dallas, first year, 12.5, 13.5, 12.8. So that 9.4 brings his averages down across the board, like all the way. All his Portland averages were brought down by that first 9.4 year. He never averaged less than 13.7 points a game in Portland. Meanwhile, the next year he averaged 12.5, then 13.5, then 12.8. So there is even a little bit of a dip there. Okay, now let's look at his shooting percentages, because I think these are a little more severe. So, all right, I got them all in front of me here. In Portland and Utah, playing with Portland and Utah, old Wes Matthews shot 39.3% from 3 and 44.3% from the field total, an average 14.3 points a game. Got it? Okay. Now, in Dallas, Wes Matthews is averaging 13 points a game. So, a little more than a point less. He's shooting 36.7% from 3, which is a considerable drop off. A couple percentage points, maybe a little bit more. And then 39.6% from the field. So you can't tell me that he stayed the same. He definitely hasn't gotten better, according to the stats. Traditional stats. The advanced stats might say something different. I don't know. I mean, is this it for Boogie? I'm worried, man. I'm trying to be hopeful, but I'm just concerned. I am. I really am. Because the numbers he was putting up were so beautiful and so gaudy. Ooh, just incredibly gaudy, delightful. I mean, every night it was fun to see the Boogie stat line. What did he do? What did he do tonight? All right. So I'm just gonna look through some of the games, some of my favorite gems, Boogie gems. And hopefully we'll see more of these kind of games in the future. I really hope so. Like Kevin Pelton said, 8% less of Boogie is still really, really good. He was incredibly. He was. I mean, the guy isn't dead, Simic. Okay, he was dominant. All right, this year he was dominant. Okay, October 26, 2017, 41 points, 23 rebounds. What? And 6 assists, people, against, you guessed it, the Kings. Revenge game for sure. And by the way, he was shooting 35% from 3. So Blake Griffin is not that far off. Bringing up Blake again. Here we go. No, I'm just saying, Blake's getting there. He's going to be a better 3-point shooter. He might even edge up to 37%. You never know. And then when he's in that range, people will really have to respect that shot. But anyways, he was shooting 47% from the field, which isn't great for a big man. But when you're shooting as many threes as he was shooting, which is a lot, he was firing them away this year. I mean, he really was. 6.1 threes a game. He started shooting threes in earnest with Sacramento in 2015-16 when he took 3.2 a game. And, 6.1 is his most attempts ever. He shot 37.5% from three last year. Give Blake some time, because when Boogie first started shooting him, he was shooting 33%. And now he's up to 35. And he shot 37 last year. But people still respect his three-point shot. He can still get hot. It's a weapon for him. Anyways. So the next night, guys, well, 2 nights from that night, when he had 41, 23, and 6, and 1 and 1, he put up a triple-double. 29 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals. Those are some delicious Boogie gems. There's so many more, though. He put up a 20-20 game, a 20, 22, and 7 assists, 1 steal game against Dallas. Dallas is getting ripped by centers this year, by the way. What are some other ones? Well, there's so many of them. I mean, it's just 32, 13, and 6 against Indiana. Indiana's been horrible against centers as well. Maybe you're like, well, what does he do? Just like pick on these teams that have horrible, can't play defense and blah, blah, blah. I mean, yes, but but he also, at Utah, 23 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. Okay, that's not that gaudy. But, against the lovely Joker out there in Denver. I can't say his name, so I just call him Joker. All right. 40 points, 22 rebounds, 4 assists. Okay, 4 blocks. Their center defense is okay, average. And yes, then he played the Kings, and he put the Kings again, 38, 11, and 4. There's just so much, man. In 3 games before he was hurt, I'm not gonna cry. Boogie had 44 points, 23 rebounds, and 10 assists and 4 steals and a block. What even is that stat line? A 40, 20, 10, 4, 1? I mean, what? This guy, unreal. Like, seriously, he put up a 32-20, an 8, and 2, and a 5. So he put up 32 points, 20 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and 5 blocks in a game as well. Against Dallas again. He's just beating up on Dallas. On December 29th. And then against Chicago, who is a sieve. Is that the right one? Is a sieve? Sav? Against Chicago, 44, as I said, 23, 10, 4, 1. It's just the numbers. And then when he got the game that he got hurt in, which is sad, man. He got hurt in like the closing moments of this game, and they beat the Rockets. The man had put up a triple-double. 15, 13, 11, and 3 steals against Houston. And he gets hurt on like the silliest, like he's going for the rebound of his free throw. And I saw a chart that said that, he was playing a ton of minutes, a lot of usage. Like Tim Duncan was the last guy to do that. When Tim Duncan averaged 40 minutes a game and all this stuff. And I totally get that. But like, someone needs to explain to me how Wilt can play, how Wilt played over 48 minutes a game one season and how players now can't. I still, it's beyond my intelligence. I just don't understand how those guys could play those crazy number of minutes, and then Boogie can't. Boogie was playing 36 minutes a game. Okay, was it a career high? Yes. Maybe he wasn't in condition. Like maybe his legs weren't strong enough, or he wasn't in the right condition to play the number of minutes he's been playing. He did describe in an interview after like the 44, 20, 10 game 5, whatever the hell he put up against Chicago, that he was like dead tired and maybe he's getting worn down. Maybe the All-Star game, if he could have just made it to the All-Star game, maybe that would have been a time for him to get some R&R. I'm just bummed. As I said, this is sad. I mean, I'm sad about this. It's a damn shame. Well, you know what? Let's talk about James Harden. Let's talk about that game he put up, that 60-point triple-double, okay? I mean, fuck. Oh, Boogie. It's so sad, man. I mean, relatively to sports, okay? It's not sad compared to other things. Isn't it crazy that James Harden is averaging the most points he's ever averaged this year? Everyone was like, "Oh, Chris Paul, it's gonna, he's gonna go back to the old James Harden." I mean, he's not getting as many assists this year. He's getting 2 less assists basically. He went from 11.2 to 9.1. But he's 28 years old, James Harden, and he's putting up 31 points a game, and 9 assists and 5 rebounds. Last year, he nearly put up a triple-double, 29, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. But let's just, I just want to look at, I want to look at the line that he put up, the 60-point triple-double, because there are gaudy stat lines, and then there's this. Like Samuelson, who's on this podcast from time to time, said it belongs in the Gaudy Hall of Fame. It does. And the man gets to the free throw line. We know that. I mean, he gets there like nobody else. It's kind of crazy. He was 17 for 18 from the free throw line in this game, 94%. He was 19 of 30 from the field. He played 46 minutes. 19 of 30, 63% from the field total. 10 rebounds, 11 assists, and 4 steals, which is kind of underrated. And a block. He's been getting a lot of blocks lately. His defense has improved this year for sure. And 60 points. So 60, 10, and 11, and 4. He had almost at 100 fantasy points, by the way. It's a stat line, folks, that has never been... No one's ever gotten a 60-point triple-double. Now, you might be like, well, didn't Westbrook... I mean, Westbrook was putting up 50-point triple-doubles. Like, yeah, but he didn't put up a 60-point triple-double. It hasn't happened, okay? It hasn't happened, folks. First time it's ever been done. It's just... It's historic. I don't know. It deserves a gold frame around it. This game, this performance, this stat line. It's something to behold, and I have beheld it. But no, I mean it's awesome. Congratulations to the bearded one. Now you know Westbrook's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a 70-point triple double and shove it in your face. You know he's thinking that. He's got like he can put up triple doubles like nobody else. And we talked about the triple double boom. And I want to do a whole pod just about, with like the gaudiest triple doubles. We'll get to that. We're also going to do a 5x5 pod, which we touched on in the first ever ep of Gaudy Stats. But man, James Harden, congratulations. What a performance. This is going to be kind of a short pod. I was going to do a Super Bowl podcast, but the Boogie thing happened. And then I was like, damn. And then James Harden had a 60-point triple-double. And I was like, shit. And then I remembered, fuck, we're not going to get to see Boogie and Anthony Davis play with LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Durant in the All-Star game. That bummed me out. And by the way, Anthony Davis has been putting up crazy numbers this year as well. But it was such an interesting team. with the two towers, but they were mobile. They could shoot from the outside a little bit. Not as much Anthony Davis, but they were starting to play well together. They're starting to learn, and you could see the quotes that Anthony Davis had after the injury that they were just starting to gel. They were really enjoying playing together. It was kind of going away from the kind of teams you've been seeing constructed these days. Not as many bigs. They had two bigs. They were effective. They were blocking shots. I mean, their defense did allow a lot of points. They were a high-paced team. They still are. But they were winning games, man. They beat the Rockets. They were playing good teams close. They still are in the playoff hunt. It's not over yet, but what a gut punch. I mean, man. But you know what? Life goes on. Keep grinding. You got to keep going. Keep pushing forward. I hope the Pelicans make the playoffs. They're still a fun team. Maybe they'll make a trade, get Mirotic. I've heard some rumblings. I should check to make sure it hasn't already happened. I mean, these trades are starting to come hard and fast. So Mirotic is not going to play on Wednesday against the Blazers. Uh-oh. By the time this pod goes up, he might already be traded. Man. Crazy stuff, man. NBA is just wild. Love it. Love the stats. Love everything about it. So yeah, that's about it. If you haven't followed us on Twitter, we're at Gaudy Stats. I'm in the process of trying to create a website, but I'm kind of busy. I don't have the time, but I'm working on it. I still haven't created the Instagram. But you know what? Listen, I want you to understand something here. We are in the incubation phase. We're a startup, people, okay? Okay? Bare bones. We got no budget. We're just out here learning the ropes, okay? We're like a rookie. Well, this is our first season in the podcasting world, in the podcast league. I can't compare it to the NBA. I can't. It's there's no pressure. We're just having a good time, okay? This is for fun. But yeah, please follow us on Twitter. Go on iTunes if you haven't. Give us 5 stars. Even if you hate it, give us 5 stars and then trash us in the comments. Okay, say I gave this thing 5 stars, but that guy has a stupid voice and he's always farting on the mic and stuff. He's coughing. He's drinking his tea. He's always slurping like this. He's creating Foley and sound effects on the podcast in real time. Yeah, just trash us in the comments. Follow us on Twitter. Troll us. Troll us in the comments. Do what just do what comes naturally. But we're gonna keep coming. We're gonna keep coming correct. We're not gonna stop. So yeah, troll us, give us shit, or give us love. We'll take it all. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for listening. And maybe we'll try to squeeze in another pod before the Super Bowl. I'm kind of ready for NFL to be over. I'm ready just to jump into NBA, the NBA pool, do a jackknife and just, spray the lifeguard with all that NBA juice. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah. So, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm walking away from the mic. Bye-bye. See you later. I'm gonna go make myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Bye-bye. See ya.